SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
William Carey University Athletics.
Every sport you find exciting.
Crusader Talk.
Crusader Talk. And now.
This is Crusader Talk. Crusader Talk. We're covering everything William Carey University Athletics. From the field to the court and the diamond on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
And welcome back into Crusader Talk. Glad you are with us for this week's episode. Caleb Hamill alongside Josh West. Michael Mergens behind the board, making all things possible on this here radio show. And we are stoked because we are continuing to count down the days until the athletics season of 2026 to 2027 begins. And Josh, we got a lot to preview as we count down the days.
It is really close.
Because what happens every year is we get to this point where in the throes of July, the heat of the summer, there are things going on behind the scenes each and every day. But we blink our eyes, and then we're in the middle of a sports season with soccer and volleyball. And then also, too, within just mere days after those seasons begin, we blink and, all of a sudden, it's conference season. You're already in conference play just 10 to 20 days seemingly into the season. It's crazy how quickly things shift and move once these athletic seasons begin each and every year. So we're right there in the throes of trying to get these shows packed in with the preview of getting the season started. And, Josh, no better way than to kind of get us a little bit of a head start than to talk to one of the newest guys as part of the Carey family. We've had him on before, but newly dubbed in approaching his inaugural season at William Carey, women's coach Jack Hartley joins us on the phone. And, Coach, first of all, thank you for spending some time here on this Monday evening with us to talk about this soccer team. First of all, I wanted to get a catch-up moment with you of how things have been as you've settled in, adjusted. You're getting you've gotten your roster together, your staff assembled, and things are finally settling in. And it's kind of real now, isn't it?
Yes, and first of all, thanks for having me back. It's definitely been busy, been very, very busy. Just getting everything ready for the season, and as you said, there's a lot that goes into that. But I've had a lot of help from the athletics department, from all the other coaches, from the administration, and so it's been as smooth as it can be. We're have most of the roster set. There might still be one or two that we can kind of get across the line, but staff set as well, and so we're excited for them to get started here in the next couple of weeks. And it's been has been what feels like a long time coming, but it's just around the corner now, and so we're ready to go.
Jack, it's Josh, and as we mentioned, we talked earlier today, and I just said that I've heard that it's gotten back to me that you out there recruiting for William Carey has been a really good thing, that's put you in the mix for some really good recruits. I know that when you came to Carey, you knew that carried some weight to it, but certainly so in the soccer world and the women's soccer world. What has that been like recruiting wearing that logo on the chest? What has that been like?
For sure, yeah. I mean, even if they don't necessarily recognize the logo, they ask where you're from, and you say the name, and then they go, oh, yeah, okay, I know that. And so we've had a lot of opportunity to kind of get out here, there, and everywhere. Last week was out in Washington State trying to look for some players. We were spending a little time back home in England looking for some players. Been looking a little locally at some camps as well, and we're just trying to get out to as much as we can and see as many players as we can. But it seems no matter where in the country I go, people are familiar with the name and the program. And again, a credit to the previous coaches and the work that they've done, and really excited to be a part of it and be associated with that name as well now.
So as we look ahead to this upcoming season, I know for those that have been tuned in to William Carey Women's Soccer over the last several years, there have been a lot of characters that have been a part of the program. Several of them graduated last year or finished up their final year of eligibility. But in addition to that, with Coach Owen's departure, he also took with him a handful of the players with him to USM, some of those including Lauren Entremont, Argentina Estrada, Alicia Navarro, some production players, especially up front for Carey last year. But that's giving you some opportunity, Coach, to fill in those holes and really bring home some winners. What can you tell us about what we can expect from the newcomers to the program?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. We've got a good chunk of people coming in. Obviously, the hole was maybe a little bigger than perhaps it normally is when you just graduate seniors. But again, when one door closes, another few open. So, we were able to, and then gave us the opportunity to go out, spend some scholarship money, bring in some players that can come in and make a big impact right away. I mean, we're very heavily kind of upperclassmen right now, with a lot of junior college transfers, 4-year transfers coming in, on top of, the remainder of the roster, which was also, very strong. So, we're very excited about the group that we've built. And yeah, I think we have, hopefully, you never really know until the seasons get going, but I'm very confident that we've been able to bring in players as good, if not maybe a little bit better in certain positions. So yeah, we're excited about them.
Jack, how do you manage expectations in terms of rebuild/reload? Because it has just been reload for so long. Has that been the message on the road this summer? Is, hey, this program has no time to rebuild. We have to reload. We're expected to go out and compete for championships every year. Has that been the message?
I feel very supported by the school. I mean, I've never felt like they're, just saying you have to win right away. But at the same time, I think it comes with the territory, right? I think being where we're at, we do need to be successful, and we're expected to be successful. And so, especially in the short term, having come in February, that we haven't necessarily had a whole year to recruit a new team. So, we're not necessarily have the time to find a lot of freshmen that we know are going to come good in the end. We did have to, or I felt we did need to go and find a lot of maturity. As you mentioned, we did lose a few more than just seniors graduating. So, if we were to just fill every single one of those positions, or the majority of those positions that were left vacant with younger players, it might take a little bit of time to really get back to the heights that the program's seen. And so, yeah, definitely felt that we needed to bring in some maturity and experience to make sure that we didn't drop off. And if we did drop off, kind of minimize any damage, and so that we can kick on again as soon as possible. So that's kind of been the philosophy. Like I said, I felt very supported by the athletics department and the administration, and no one's kind of made me feel like, hey, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. But obviously, I wanted the position because of how successful it's been. I've enjoyed being a part of it for that reason too. And so a lot of it is pressure on myself and high expectations for myself. But yeah, I think it just kind of comes with the territory, really.
We're talking to Jack Hartley, new women's soccer coach at William Carey ahead of this upcoming season. Coach, this team, we said that a lot of pieces are having to be replaced, but this is a team that's going to be battle-tested very early as the schedule dictates, because the SSAC hasn't traditionally been a huge power conference when it comes to women's soccer. You have the occasional teams that rise to the occasion, but at the same time, the strength in schedule often has to happen in the non-conference play. And I don't know how much of this was your scheduling or the previous administration already in motion, but to have the defending national champion as one of your first two opponents of the year is a pretty tough start, or tough draw, I should say, to the beginning of the year. And you also have a couple other teams that finished in the top 25 last year. It's going to be a huge task ahead right at the start of the year, is it not?
Yeah, but I think if you look back historically at the schedule, I think, we've always played against the top 4 or 5 teams in the conference early on. Normally, we get to meet them a little closer to home, but this time we still wanted to maintain that challenge early on in the season, that litmus test to see kind of where we're at. And so, the only way we're going to make it happen is by kind of flying to Kaiser and also kind of playing against Lindsey Wilson, Georgia Gwinnett, some of these really high-ranked teams. And just because I think that's just what has made Carey so successful in the past is challenging yourself against the best and kind of seeing where we're at and then making sure that we make any adjustments we need to early, and so that we can then push on in the rest of our non-conference and our conference schedule. But I think the conference is still pretty strong, especially that top half. We've got Xavier joining out of New Orleans, who have typically won their conference, won the Red River Conference over the years, and UT Southern had a bit of a down year last year, but fully expect them to come back and be extremely strong this year. Life University, and even some other universities in our conference, Mobile, Dalton State, Point. I think some of these teams are really strong and tough teams to play against, and so we do kind of have the opportunity to play against good opposition in conference, and so the main motivation, I think, to go and play against some of these top-ranked teams is because we believe that we're up there with them, and that it really stands us in good stead for the rest of the season.
Got just about 20 seconds left. Does it help your motivation at all in prepping for the season to know that England's in the Final Four of the FIFA World Cup right now?
Yes, it certainly does. It kind of gives you that little bit of a boost and makes you kind of want that sort of success for yourself and for the program as well. But we're very happy, although it's been a bit of a grind to get to where they've been. But who knows? We may have to grind out some results ourselves this season.
Good to hear from you, Coach, and best of luck against Argentina. We'll see you next time we have you on the podcast, or if not, out there at the field. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you around.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll be right back.
You're tuned in to Crusader Talk on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
All right, great conversation with new women's soccer coach Jack Hartley here on Crusader Talk. Josh, I feel like he's warmed up. He's getting ready. I feel like there's an intimidation factor of jumping into such a role as what he has, given the fact that it's not the most recent, but pretty much the most recent national championship that William Carey has.
I'll just say this. As good as the Alabama Crimson Tide are, they don't play on Nick Saban Field. Think about that. So, he'll be coaching his first game on Danny Owens Field.
Yeah.
Against South Alabama in a scrimmage. So there's something that goes with that. I mean, that talks about the shoes he's filling. I mean, those are big shoes.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before, but let's be honest. There's going to come a day where a streak comes to an end. But what year did we say it was? Was it 2018, 2017, the last time William Carey women's soccer lost a match on their field or lost a regular season match? I can't remember the exact the parameters around it, but it's been a long time. And granted, a majority of these contests we talked about against top 25 teams are going to happen away from the home field.
If they get seasoned, they could keep it going.
They could. They very well
Their
could.
home schedule, they've got to take care of business. We're going to talk a lot about schedules in this show. They've got to take care of their business in their home schedule.
Yeah. Now, I give Coach Hartley credit. I mean, he is certainly playing it up. He is geared up and trying to portray the confidence that he has going ahead into this year. But let's be real. This is going to be a very different look to a Carey team. It was already going to be a little bit of that with, Karen Valal moving on in life. You have the two Japanese women that have come in, Ishikawa, and all of a sudden her name escaped me. But nevertheless, you had some huge talents that were coming through and finishing off. Neneko Seki, that was the other one. But you're already losing a lot of upper-class talent there. And then on top of that, you lose two of the better goal scorers. I mean, Alessia Navarro is such a speedster on the field. You could not duck your head and miss out on where she was at any given time because all of a sudden she would get it and score. Excuse me. Or she would catch the pass and set up the cross for somebody else to punch it through. But Lauren Entremont was also a growing talent as a freshman last year. And then Argentina Estrada, also a big contributor on the defensive side last year, taking her talents to Southern Miss for her senior year. But all that said, there's some big holes that are being filled, and there's just a lot of unknown about how they will play together. There's only so much you can do in training until you finally get out there and see real competition. And as you pointed out, going to start off against South Alabama with an exhibition match, followed by an away trip to Mississippi Christian. And so we'll see a little bit of what they're made of, but it's going to be a while before the first home match of the year. So we're going to have to watch them from a distance for the first 3 regular season games against LSU Shreveport, Kaiser, the defending national champion, Georgia Gwinnett, a team that Carey's played a number of times in the regular season over the past few years. And then finally you bring it back home on September the 3rd when you host LSU Alexandria.
Well, and again, the thing that's been encouraging to me that I had to kind of have the oh yeah moment, and I've already made the Nick Saban Alabama football reference. I'll make it again. Alabama football still goes on at a really high level. There's a brand that was there, and there's a brand that carries on. And Nick Saban deserves all the credit for the national championships and all the teams they built and the staffs and all the assistants that have gone on and that are running great programs around the country, including all over the Southeastern Conference on both sides of that league. But to hear what the name William Carey, how that resonates with female soccer players around the country and around the globe, they know that name. And so that name lives on. That is something that Danny left when he left William Carey, and so now he's trying to build that now over at Southern Miss. But so Jack benefits from that. Jack comes in and is able to have that launching pad, and that's why you hear some of the excitement in his voice, because he is getting in on some really good players, and they are landing some solid pieces. And we'll know the details more in the coming weeks, and hopefully have him back on to talk about, kind of the launch into the start of the season and the wrap of camp, and really talk personnel and kind of what that lineup kind of looks like. But yeah, you can hear the difference. It is an audible difference in his voice.
And one of the things that may have piqued the ears of some of the listeners when he was talking about this was that he said the roster may not be fully set right now. He's not talking about lineups. He's talking about the literal roster, and that's just because of the nature of NAIA athletics. A lot of times you will have athletes that have been in an effort to, we say get eligible, but it's more so to go through the vetting process, to get the paperwork filed, to get everything finalized and get them from overseas into campus. So people that you have waiting in the wings that are 90% sure they're going to be a part of it, but you cannot talk about it. They're not official until the dotted line is signed and everybody says you're go.
I don't know the details here, but is it not easier to get eligible at the NAIA level than the NCAA level?
It is a much wider band to get through versus think of it like trying to go through TSA at Pine Belt Airport versus Atlanta. A lot of people going through Atlanta. They got a lot of room to get clogged up in TSA versus Hattiesburg Laurel Regional. Yeah, they're just all right there. Not a ton having to come through.
Sure.
There's just not a lot of resistance as you come through, just from a throughput standpoint.
Okay, well,
and there are a few standards. There are a couple more things that make it a little bit easier to become eligible, but not in any way that makes you put your tinfoil hat on and say, conspiracy.
What was it in the 90s, though, with NCAA Prop 95? What was it? The Southern Miss had an advantage of getting players in the 90s in football. Guys could get eligible that could not get eligible at larger schools with higher academic standards. I mean, that's 30 years ago. That's a different world ago.
Sure, your Stanfords, your Vanderbilts.
Sure, but I didn't know if that was or could have been just conferences. Conference standards, did they vary back then a lot 30 years ago?
Well, I wasn't alive more than 31 years ago, so right. I don't really have a great basis of what things were like eligible.
But we're asking Caleb Hamill here. If anybody would know, Caleb Hamill would know.
Fair point. I do have a couple things up my sleeve like that. But that's more my movie quotes and references than it is college football rules and eligibility standards. But I digress. Now, let's talk men's soccer, because that's a season, a team that will be playing in Hattiesburg a lot more in the month of August than they are in September. And they will start things off with a pair of scrimmages against local junior college teams, the Jones College and Pearl River, before hosting Texas Wesleyan on August the 20th at 7:30. Praise the Lord, we're letting sundown come and maybe get some of the heat off before we get that first match underway.
That's where Barry Farrell is right now. You've got to get his instant reaction live on the podcast.
Yeah, if you had a video camera pointed at Josh's phone right now, how would you describe him, Mr. Play-by-Play Man?
The Shire. like he's in the Shire or something. From
it's a beautiful oasis.
Where's Frodo? Where are all the little hobbits and where it just the magical, just whimsical fairy tale of where Barry Farrell is right now in Ireland? I don't even know how you get there. I don't know if you just have to be. Is that horse and buggy or whatever that gets you there?
I think you have to go through a magic wardrobe or something to find a land like that.
Unbelievable. He is literally, it is blue sky, white puffy clouds, bright sunshine, and he is right by either a river to the ocean, a little inlet of the ocean or there, whatever. Just, much deserved R&R for Coach Farrell.
How much would you pay for weather like that for August 20th's home opener?
He can't take it with him. He can't take it with him. A
little sea breeze to cool you off. Maybe it's the second half advantage as it blows into your goal.
That's what sustains him right there. Is that's getting the batteries recharged.
That and a good game of golf.
Yes.
Good game of golf, good Irish breakfast.
Yes.
And then you come right back to the boys.
He gets to watch the Open Championship in its regular time slot now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be breakfast at the Open this week, and he's in the regular time slot. That is this week, right? Because Scottish Open was last week. It's got to be this week.
Yeah,
I have
you're
not
getting
watched.
The same territory as my old eligibility standards of college football.
Look. I as a Tiger Woods fan, I've watched less golf the last year or two. Please come back, Tiger. Please ride in a cart on the Champions Tour. Golf needs you. It is. I've not been. I watched the Masters, and that's the last golf that I've watched.
Hey, speaking of Coach Farrell, congratulations are in store to a former Crusader soccer player, Andres Kokoschka, former keeper for William Carey. He was actually recently signed to a professional contract. So congratulations to him coming through the NAIA and still making it to professional ranks. It's not unheard of, but we're happy to know that it happened to somebody that used to wear a Crusader uniform.
And Patrick Lee back in AAA?
Yes, got moved up from the Michigan, the Whitecaps up to, what is the Detroit AAA? It is all of a sudden escaped me. It's a Monday, everybody. It's a Monday for everyone. I'll figure it out between the break, or during the break.
AAA ball is fun, by the way. So I guess the closest we can experience that is getting up to Memphis to see the Redbirds. But if you get a chance to do that this summer, do it.
By the way, we got to recap your minor league and major league trip.
We saw a lot of baseball.
A lot of baseball for you. Also got to see our friend Ben Ingram.
Saw Ben. Saw Kevin Griffin.
That's right.
So got to see
good company. Griffin. Good food, too, from what you were telling me.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why. But, hey, you still found a way to make it to work for the podcast last week.
That's right. The beauty of the roadcaster.
Josh has no days off.
Nope. You just work from the road.
That's it.
Funny story about that when we come back.
That's right. Also, too, big news as far as coaching changes in William Carey. That also coming up as we continue. You're listening to Crusader Talk.
Talking everything William Carey University athletics. This is Crusader Talk on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
All right, I looked it up. I had my wires crossed a little bit. He was part of the AAA Toledo Mud Hens early in his career. That was a quick jump that he made. But he's in the AA.
Okay, AA.
So he's part of the Erie Seawolves, which always makes me think of hockey because of the team that was on the coast for like half a second. But nevertheless, congratulations to Patrick for continuing his career, moving on up from high A to AA. We'll see if there's some more major moves coming in the near future. As we're in All-Star Week. It's a fun little off time for the teams right now.
We've got a home run derby tonight.
Oh, I need to go back and look at some of that. By the way, area guy JoJo Parker had a pretty good game in the Futures matchup. His American League team won 6-1, I believe it was. Had an RBI double that was inches away from a 2-run homer.
Speaking of Futures game, I've got a Futures game story.
Okay.
I'm in Cooperstown. I'm in the Hall of Fame.
That's right, on that big road trip you took.
Okay. And I come across last year's Futures game roster card, the one like from the dugout, and Connor Griffin scratched for injury, and I sent that to his dad. He's like, "Oh man, how did you get that? Where did you see that?" I was like, "It's in Cooperstown," and so
everything's in Cooperstown.
Well, but it was surreal. I was asking him how surreal was the day opening, his first game. cameras following him around. It was like, he says, unbelievable. Just the jerseys, the T-shirts, the banners outside the stadium, to seeing your kid's name on a lineup card in Cooperstown, just the surrealness of it, because we've known Kevin for years. We've worked with Kevin on broadcast for years, and your son is now, he signed that once-in-a-lifetime contract, and hopefully he gets 2 in a lifetime, hopefully when he's a free agent in 8 more years. But, he signed his deal to be able to build around him in Pittsburgh and try to win. And if you get a chance to get to Pittsburgh and PNC Park, baseball fans, get there. Another cool thing, Coach Halford, if he listens, this is a test for Coach Halford to see if he listens. I picked him up a 1978 game program from the NAIA World Series at a bookstore.
Really?
In Cooperstown. 1978 NAIA baseball program when it was still in Missouri. So that's pretty cool. And I picked it up for $1.50. There was just all these racks of old Sports Illustrateds and magazines. We just started flipping through them for 5 or 10 minutes. And so I found him that. And over under on how many people he knows still or knew or knows in that magazine. 10,
I'm sure
15, 20.
Several.
I mean, because 78. And he's been coaching for how long?
Over 40 years.
So over 40 years, that's going to put it.
Because he was also an assistant before he was a head
So he's an assistant. So that's right there when he was getting started, right? 78 or right after he got started?
Yeah, that was right in the middle of his, I believe he was an assistant that year.
Been an assistant. I wonder if they went up there because it was so much closer. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. They had a trip to the World Series in the 70s. I'm all of a sudden blanking on which year it was.
Won the national championship in 69,
Yes.
Carey did.
I can always remember that one.
And then, so anyway, 78. So I thought that was cool. And again, Cooperstown, let me say, if you're a baseball fan, get to Cooperstown. It is like Disney World for baseball fans in terms of the shopping. Of course, the Hall of Fame's great, but in terms of the shopping, it's Disney World. And the Baseball Hall of Fame gift shop alone is like the Wild World of Disney for baseball fans. It's just everything. So,
You had me thinking about it. The World Series has been in Lewiston, Idaho for many, many years. It took a brief hiatus from 92 to 99, bouncing around in Iowa, Oklahoma, and Florida. But
and then 78 was Missouri, right?
74 through 1978 was St. Joseph, Missouri.
There you go.
And before that was Phoenix, and it was back in St. Joe even before
And see,
that.
Missouri, that's how we outsiders call it. And so I'm basically, instead of saying Belzoni, I'm saying Belzona. Hence why I'm saying Missouri. If you're from Missouri, what we call Missouri, it's Missouri.
That's right.
Go figure.
But, so when Carey won the World Series, it was in St. Joseph, Missouri. That was before they had made that giant shift to it being in Lewiston, Idaho. First year in Lewiston was 84.
Wow. So a bygone era of baseball. And again, you just don't know what you're going to find. Another find, I found a first edition Red Barber biography book.
Yeah.
First edition, $6.
Our friend Breck Riley found a signed copy of one of Red Barber's books.
Right, remember that. I found a Al Michaels book for like $4, and I found a Jim Nantz book for $5. The one about all the stories from his dad.
Okay.
And so I've got 3 broadcasting books to get into. So that was fun.
You're going to have your hands full before
I do.
too long.
Now, speaking of, as we talking about schedules releasing, we got women's basketball schedule dropped along with the soccer schedules. Men's basketball's got like 2 contracts to get back. I talked to PJ McCray today. I got to look at his roster. The roster's filled out. They're going to be very much the same size in terms of height. 6'5", 6'6" guard, 6'7" post, 6'4" guards, multiple 6'4" guards. They picked up another young man out of the Congo that plays just like Arzika Sibu, okay? But everybody they signed is the same type of pedigree, if you will, the same type of moxie and background, winning programs, scorers, played big minutes, were used to being on the floor late in games for their respective teams. So this is a team that's, get this, if you can believe it, Caleb, they're going to be deeper in late game situations. They're going to be able to play faster. They're going to be able to play less reserved, if you will. If somebody gets in foul trouble, that's not going to be as critical as maybe certain moments in certain games were last year. So, again, PJ, very excited about that. Those guys will report here sometime mid-next month, maybe about a month away or so. End of August is when they'll report. Women's basketball, one of the storylines that we were following under the radar was that of Mary Margaret and Maddie Marie Grayson. And so a couple of players who we're keeping an eye on. And they are, taking classes this summer, doing great. So everything is progressing for the Twins to be Crusaders come the fall. And those are two high-level scorers and two ladies that are going to keep me on my toes because when they're both on the floor at the same time at the top of the key, passing the ball back and forth, Lord help me. Because, again, it is Mary Margaret Grayson and Maddie Marie Grayson. And I guess if their hair's in a ponytail, I'm going to be able to tell them apart. But I don't know. It's going to be work.
Surely they've gotten nicknames over the years.
I hope so.
Marge tosses to Maddie.
Marge. I don't think it's Marge. I don't know what the nickname's going to be, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Marge.
If you use it enough, it'll stick, right?
Oh man, Mama's going to come after me then. That's why I can't. That's why I don't think I'm going to be able to get away with nicknames. I think Mama's going to be watching and listening too much.
So, by the way, what was the year for that
1978.
Okay, that was the year Carey was there.
Really?
That was the year Carey was there. And Coach Halford, I believe, was on that staff because he joined for the 1976-77 season.
Oh, my goodness.
So that is part of history for Coach Halford, not just NAIA. So
when I pulled it out, it's in really good condition. And when I pulled it out last night from the trunk, it was a little bit, from the bag or whatever. And I put it in between the two of those hardcover books. I stuck it there and kind of pressed it down again. But I'm hoping to get that to the baseball offices Wednesday because what a pull that would be. That might be something he wants to get framed.
That could
put
be.
In some type of at least put it in some type of a sleeve and very carefully take it out because, again, a little piece of history. Mm-hmm. I wish Carey would do a Hall of Fame wall or a Hall of Fame room or a Hall of Fame that type, some artifacts and some jerseys and some.
I think with a possible stadium renovation,
that would be really
cool. You could
see
a little bit more of that because so much of the Milton Wheeler Field and everything else out there is so outdoor based. There's not a lot of air conditioned space beyond the press box and the President's Suite. But if you ever got to a proper concourse type thing, I would definitely think that's something that would be in high consideration. That would probably have a really good place for it on a shelf. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, we didn't do that hot in the 78 World Series. We went 0-2. But still, to have some memorabilia from the second ever visit to the World Series for William Carey.
And what's that, almost 50? Or is that almost 50 years ago? Yeah, almost 50 years ago.
Wow. Which shows you how long Coach Bobby Halford has been coaching in some capacity, not just head coach.
That's incredible.
Well, one guy that we can't claim is a longtime head coach for forever at William Carey is one that has since moved on to greener pastures, but one we're very happy about. Coach Ryan McKenzie, who has been a part of William Carey and their track and field teams for many, many years, has gotten the offer and has taken the job over at Alcorn State to do the same role over there in Lorman. But Josh, we joke about it and joked with him about it so often. How many times the NCAA Division I teams were eyeing his team to figure out who are the best performers, who are the best athletes, so they could poach, and all of a sudden, just right from under our noses, a D1 school comes and takes him with us. All right, takes him away from us.
Well, and then to get a little more of the backstory that he is an Alcorn alum.
That's true.
That was just too enticing. If I'm getting the story right, there was an opportunity for a Mississippi State assistant position, something there. And I could be dreaming that, so don't hold me 100% to that. But I believe there was some rumblings there. But then to go home to your alma mater And I think that resonates with me. I think, Caleb, that would resonate with you. That,
Sure.
Certainly for the job at your alma mater, nobody knows. He knows why people go there. He knows the history. He knows what he loves about it, and it's going to be so genuine coming from him. That's what made it work at Carey. He loved Carey so much. He was so genuine in what he did. Got a chance to see his daughter compete this summer too, by the way. She's going to be special.
Yeah.
She's going to be really special.
So no word yet on the coaching carousel of how that role will be filled moving forward. But just hats off to him. Great guy. We loved having him on this podcast. I'm going to tell him, I was like, man, is this because we forgot to call you towards the end of the season to talk about the NAIA tournament that you just said, they don't like me, I got to leave? No, we'll see. But congratulations to him. We're excited about his upcoming venture and excited about the future of William Carey Track and Field because we know it's going to be a sustained success story for the years to come with the legacy that he leaves behind him. So we have one more segment to be with you. May preview a little bit of the volleyball schedule coming up. We talked about all the different schedules. That's the one we haven't talked about yet. So we'll do that and wrap things up with you on the final segment of Crusader Talk coming up next.
From the coaches to the student athletes and the fans that cheer them on, you're listening to Crusader Talk on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
All right, final segment with you here on Crusader Talk. Caleb Hamill, Josh West, Michael Mergens behind the desk, pushing the right buttons and sliding those faders like the old DJ he used to be. Good times. All right, we promised a quick preview of the volleyball schedule and what's to come in that season, and we will bring it to you, as I should have had that already pulled up on my monitor, but all of a sudden it just ducked away from me. But I do know a good many of Friday night games are in store for us. Why do I know that? Because, Josh, you're unavailable to cover them. So.
And you're working them.
That's right.
Jumping right in there.
Jumping in. A lot of road flair for the early going, as it is typical, and we've learned that from Coach Rhonda Shirley. She loves to play in these classics where you get to go out and face many teams for a round robin or a tournament-style setting. Going to begin their season officially in Sarasota, Florida, as part of the mighty, was it Banyan? My eyes are failing me. Yeah, mighty Banyan Volleypalooza. English is difficult for me. But, man, as soon as that wraps up, they are facing a conference opponent. Well, going to a tournament hosted by a conference opponent over in Marietta, Georgia, hosted by Life. Weber International is going to be one of the teams they face. I believe the others are to be determined. The Faulkner Invitational in Montgomery follows that before finally William Carey will be at home and immediately host conference opponents in Mobile and Xavier, newcomer to the SSAC. Follow that up with Loyola at home. Then you get a little bit of a road trip to Graceville, Florida. That's a fun little jaunt in the middle of the schedule there. But as September continues on, Life back in Hattiesburg, followed by Point. Then you go on the road for a couple of tough ones, perhaps, in Blue Mountain and Tennessee Southern. You're also going to have Wesleyan and Andrew College for the first time as conference teams on your schedule, maybe the first time ever, to face William Carey. But those two, one will be at home against Wesleyan, the other Andrew College. They'll face off against one another in Cuthbert, Georgia for that one. Blue Mountain will come back to William Carey later on in the schedule, as will Tennessee Southern. It's a difficult schedule, but it's one of those kind of similar to what we talked about with women's soccer, Josh, where there's going to be a lot of good competition to face early on, a lot of realizing what you're made of early before you get into conference play.
Yeah, and I love the fact of who all you've got coming back, from Aruju to Sammy Wilson to Sophia Bettini. Ehrgart is back. Porti is back from surgery. A lot of these ladies that I'm giving you their names are back from surgery.
As I say, a lot of people that have been like the bull waiting behind the gate, just ready for those doors to open up.
Yeah, and again, look at Soutier. Soutier's back. Gabby Macera is back. To have these players just like Porti and Bettini, for example. There was so much offense that was lost late. The ability to put away points that hurt, and they just piled up. I mean, just freak injuries, like a torn ACL by who was it? I believe it was I want to say it was Aruju that tore a knee up in warm-ups.
All the injuries just run together.
Yeah, well, there was one that was in warm-ups. I mean, it was in the hitting line prior to the match, and it was when that was like the third in 3 days or third in 3 matches, 3 ACLs and 3 matches. It was absurd, the level of injuries. And so once you weather that storm, and once they had that surgery, that knee comes back stronger than the other knee. When they do their rehab, and these ladies are just so driven. With that experience and having come back from that now, this is just another year of the era for Coach and for Coach Shirley and the discipline and the expectations she's brought to that program. I expect a big-time bounce-back year.
Yeah, could be a lot of fun. Speaking of fun, we got some fun coming up on Thursday. We're going out to French Camp for our annual pilgrimage for the Mississippi broadcasters or sports broadcast, whatever it is, kickoff gathering. All right, where all of our brothers in broadcasting will all converge to basically just have one big old family reunion before high school football kicks into gear and all the other different universities or colleges that are represented.
It's going to be Elijah's christening. It'll be his first.
Yeah, I'm so excited for him.
So Elijah's getting to go up to, my son's getting to go up to his first. And so we're already, I got a couple of calls on the trip this past week, and I was like, guys, you better be ready because there's going to be spots to fill. You're going to be needed. There's just so much going on. And so they've got to get ready, and my nephew and my son. And unfortunately, my nephew's got football practice and work and stuff, so he's out. So, but
tell Elijah to take good notes.
Good notes. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It'll be good to see everybody.
Yeah, could be a lot of fun. I mean, some of these guys, this is our only opportunity to get to see them every year because once we get into sports mode, we're locked in until June, buddy. We are locked and loaded. We hardly see our wives, much less each other, unless we happen to be at the same game.
Yep, so absolutely.
It is fun to get together, and we get to talk about William Carey, broadcasting games on the Urban Edge Network, as well as the other things that we get to be affiliated with, high school championship coverage, you name it. So looking forward, thanks to Jason Crowder and all of them at French Camp for hosting us for that. Still an opportunity to go if you're an aspiring broadcaster. Check out our social media pages, and we've got the links available for it there. May not be able to get in for lunch, but I rest assured you will be able to sit down and enjoy some fun conversation if that's something you're interested in. All right, another summer episode of the books of Crusader Talk. For Michael Mergens and Josh West, I'm Caleb Hamill saying until next time, good night, God bless, and go Saders.
SuperTalk Mississippi Media Production.